I think the main reason as to why so many Star Wars fans are looking forward to the Ahsoka Tano series the most this year has a lot to do with the fact that Jon and Dave are implementing a lot of the mythology into the franchise, really trying to find avenues to really kind of explore the secrets of the Jedi, Anakin Skywalker, the world between worlds, and all this fun and crazy stuff that's being thrown in there by Favreau and Filoni. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the kind and great support. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars and where it stands today is that Favreau and Filoni have a lot of privileges, thankfully, over at Lucasfilm, really kind of just doing what they want to do with a lot of the upcoming Star Wars projects that's being worked on, and how they really are calling the shots, not just on the shows, but also on some of the films, by the way, that are in the very early development phase, I must add. Now, of course, everything related to Bob Iger, the new Disney CEO, is that he really is focused on making Star Wars best as possible, to really bring it back to its roots, to really kind of just cater to George Lucas's vision and just provide fans what they've been asking for a very long time. Just pure common sense, right? Now that brings us to the next big thing. Everything, of course, that has been going on with the canon changes that are being applied by both Favreau and Filoni, as well as a lot of adjustments being made to the Star Wars lore, Favreau was able to make a very big tease about Rey Skywalker getting erased and literally just getting completely cancelled out from the current canon. And we've been talking about this, of how this is a plan by Jon and Dave, and it has already been moving through to actually change her character. Now let's get into the actual interesting stuff about this. Now, with many new Star Wars announcements, however, coming soon by Favreau and Filoni, they recently were able to tease something big for the fans. Favreau recently teased a big plan about how they have a goal to change some of the sequel trilogy characters. Favreau went on to state the following to the fandom: "With our upcoming TV shows, we are looking for ways that we can change the stories around for some of the characters that were previously established. One of which that we are focused on is Rey, and how we can provide new meaning to a character like that, and adding a new background to her character. Myself and Dave have talked this over plenty of times on how we can alter and adjust the bloodline of Rey, and what type of new lore we can insert for her character development using our stories that lead up to some of the origins of a character like this." Now let me just pause here quick for a second. Now, this is something that has been in the works for quite a while now. A lot of creators out there, by the way, did not agree with the whole Rey Skywalker thing, quote unquote, where Rey Skywalker was going to be a thing in the marketing, was going to be a thing in, of course, upcoming video games and such, and how she's now established in the canon as holding that last name. And basically what they want to do is that they want to literally take away that last name and add new meaning to her bloodline. So that's what they're doing. Now, of course, we've talked about this many times. If you guys are new here, just to give you a quick recap, is that Favreau and Filoni are finding ways to making her both a Kenobi and a Palpatine. And basically why they're doing that is they want to actually pretty much even out the hints that were pretty much, dropped in The Force Awakens that she was going to be a Kenobi, and that was the truth, by the way. Even Daisy confirmed this, that JJ really wanted her to become a Kenobi in the very beginning. And so JJ, of course, recently gave Jon and Dave the okay on this. Jon talks about that in a second. But the thing about this, too, that's very interesting is how they are going to be shifting around the bloodline. Now, this is not to say that Rey was ever a Skywalker by blood. What they are doing is that they're going to be removing that name from the character marketing-wise. They're going to be taking that out and finding a way to not call her Rey Skywalker anymore, but they're also going to give her a new bloodline. They're going to give her a more fleshed-out story, a deeper origin story, somehow, some way, most likely in that post-Episode 9 series that's currently in development that Daisy Ridley has been in the talks for, and why she visited Lucasfilm about like a month and a half ago, give or take. So, with that being said, on top of this too, He goes on to state, "This is just one example of what we are doing with our upcoming shows to alter the lore of the sequel trilogy movies and what we will be considered canon or not. I always said to myself that there needed to be more depth of storytelling-wise for Rey, and I am getting ready to adjust her bloodline with Dave by my side as we flesh out some of these very involved stories, where some of which will roll into the sequel trilogy lore and canon stuff as well, that we are so excited to begin working on in the near future. This is also something that we ran by JJ before moving ahead with everything, and he gave us the okay on that." Now, by the way, when Rey called herself Rey Skywalker, a lot of fans didn't like that for multiple reasons. And I get it, this was basically a storytelling piece at the end of the actual movie that Rey, perhaps, cannot really embrace her past, she has to cover it up with being a Skywalker. That's kind of like what it came off as. I can see what JJ's intent was, because Luke and Leia are more or less of a parent system to her, to a degree, and I can see why she would model her name off of Rey Skywalker, but at the end of the day, what it really sounds like is that Rey was too afraid to actually just keep thinking of herself as Rey Palpatine, so she had to take that name Skywalker to truly just vanquish those thoughts. That's what it came across as, to me at least, and to some people out there as well. Maybe you are wrong, who knows, but I think that's exactly how it felt. Now, the thing about this too, guys, is that Jon and Dave are on a mission to shifting things around. We already know that Jon told Deborah Chow and Joby Harold specifically for Ewan McGregor to drop a line of dialogue about Kenobi having a brother in the Kenobi series, and that's how they are going to make her into a part Kenobi. Basically, her being a descendant of Kenobi's brother, not necessarily Kenobi himself, which is basically the same thing. They're brothers, and then you have Rey, the daughter of Kenobi's brother, or the granddaughter, whatever have you. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, and how that really all is going to be applied in upcoming books, novels, and even live-action TV shows that will be actually dropping these pieces of information through dialogue from certain characters. Again, that was the biggest call. Favreau telling Deborah Chow to have Ewan McGregor say that in the Kenobi series for that specific reason. That Kenobi says, "I may have had a brother. I remember a baby's hand." He said something around those lines. And basically that was a big breadcrumb that was demanded by Jon Favreau for this specific reason. So overall, there's a lot of things happening, and there has been a lot of things happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm to really kind of just really shift some of the established characters around that have gotten criticism and that have not really been all well received to the fans. So anyways, guys, I'm really intrigued to see what each and every one of you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night